Okay, welcome. Please let me know if you hear me. We'll see if this is working. Okay, well, I think it is working. So welcome on in, everyone. Let me say hello to the people in the chat. We'll get rolling. Okay. Let's see. We got Fur Baby Daddy here, like number one. Thank you. And everyone else, please follow Fur Baby Daddy's footsteps and hit the like, and welcome Tracy Fleetwood. Okay, please don't join the chat for Tracy if you're driving. Welcome in Four Pits. Welcome in Lisa. All right, and Emily. And Captain Underpants, welcome in. And Bonnie, welcome in. Nobody Nothing, welcome in Nobody Nothing. All right, and Sleuthy Goosey, welcome in. All right, so everyone who's here, oh, there we go. We got some more. We got Augie and Royal Wee. All right, and everyone else, if you're in the Lurker crew, welcome to the Lurker. Hey, Kayla. Welcome, Kayla. And so Lurker crew, join the chat. Enjoy the chat. Today's a chat-centric show, so I'm going to go through some of the stuff we're going to look at, and we'll discuss with the chat. Hope you guys are doing okay. It's the middle of the day, September 18 here. We're just enjoying our day. Got some coffee and some sunshine out there. So we'll get started. Today, we're going to take another look at our community posts and continue our weird stuff series, reviewing some of the community posts. I'm trying to get caught up to date, so probably have a couple more shows regarding this to get caught up with the community post. So we'll be looking at that. But before we get started, I would like to play a video I made for you because this is how we're going to kick off the community post today. So this will set a little context for the first few that we'll be looking at. And so some of you may have seen this already. If you have, bear with us. And if you haven't seen it, here's my opportunity to force you to see it. So let me see if I can pull this up for us.
So Tina Rodell, her daughter was out there. Megan was out there at the trail with Keegan Calais and Tyler French on the 12th into the 13th before the girls died. So a lot of people know this on Facebook. A lot of people in this case know that, Tina was talking to her daughter. Her daughter put out messages to her mom, help, come pick me up, help. Tina thought it was at 2 o'clock that afternoon, which was I said, Tina, it's 02:03. I said, that's in the wee hours of the morning. So I'm looking at your date on your phone, and it's February 13th, 02:03. I said, that's in the morning. And then they come to find out. Then I talked to Steve Mullen. He called me. He wanted me to take Tina Rodell in because he said he talked to the 3 kids, Tyler, Keegan, and Megan. They were out there.
Why would he want you to take her in?
Because the three kids, I said, well, why didn't you talk to 3 kids? He said, we talked to them, but they were so drugged out of the gourd, they're of no help. But we think that, Megan, or, Megan's mom, Tina, could help us, because Tina's sister, Christy Martin, was served time in prison. You can look her up, and that there was some connection with Ron Logan. Ron Logan was a farmer. He could get like anhydrous ammonia. And then Tina told me that her daughter ended up coming back on. So she sent me a picture right away of the white car in her driveway. It's all over Facebook. You guys can find it. So I talked to her about that. I'm like, who was this guy? He's like, I'm here to pick up something, and she was actually scared of him. And he went and he opened up his trunk and he was putting something in his trunk. He said he's here to pick something up. He picked something up, and then he took off. And she took a picture of his license plate, wrote it down on her hand, and was sending me all these pictures, as this was happening. And then cops did confirm the white car with the plates that they were the paper plate was traced back to Kokomo. And the kids, they talked to them. They said they were of no help at all. On the 15th, Megan showed up, and Tina told me she was gang raped. She could barely walk. And she was, whatever happens when you take meth, I don't know, she said like her skin had this, like she was so methed up that it was like coming out of her skin, rash or some weird kind of thing happening to her. And she was going to take her to the emergency room. And Megan's like, no, don't take me. And then a couple days later, she disappeared, and she ended up getting a message. Didn't hear from Megan for a long time. Megan and her were fighting back and forth on Facebook. And somebody, I don't know if it was Keegan or somebody, said that she was sold. I said, what do you mean sold? Well, she was sold to another guy up north by Maryville, Gary area. And she was sold. They interviewed all 3 of the kids, is what they said. So then Steve Mullen knew that I was talking to Tina, so I was told that Steve Mullen wanted to talk to me, so he ended up calling me, and I said, and this is in 2017, and I said, why don't you just talk to the kids? And he said, I did, but they were so drugged up that they were of no help at all. So Tina Rodell, her daughter was out there. Megan was out there at the trail with Keegan Calais and Tyler French on the 12th into the 13th before the girls died. So a lot of people know this on Facebook. A lot of people in this case know that, Tina was talking to her daughter. Her daughter put out messages to her mom, help, help, come pick me up, help, help. Tina thought it was at 2:00 that afternoon, which was I said, Tina, it's 02:03. I said, that's in the wee hours of the morning. So I'm looking at your date on your phone, and it's February 13th, 02:03. I said, that's in the morning. And then they come to find out. Then I talked to Steve Mullen. He called me. He wanted me to take Tina Rodell in because he said he talked to the 3 kids, Tyler, Keegan, and Megan. They were out there. They were at Tyler French's stepdad's house, which was about a mile and a half down the road from the Moment High Bridge. Then he was renting a house down this long lane. It was weird because I drove down there one time and I was like just taking video. He ended up moving a month later after the murders, but they did take his deer cam video, and Mullen told me they had deer cam video of the kids at his house on the 12th, and that they admitted they had gone there that night to the bridge to make meth and stayed through the night. And that's when Megan was asking, Mom, come and get me, she's out there. She said she was in like some little, she said she was like in some little shack. She was probably in I was guessing she was in the Mears little shack there by the trail.
Okay, y'all, that was it. Now, pointers here. I know that went by really fast, really quickly. So, the reason I allowed that to go by really fast when I made it is that it's okay to focus on what Julie's saying, okay? You can always hit pause and screenshot the what's on the screen. So here's the link to the video here. I pinned it, or I posted it here in the chat. So you can always go back and check that video out. Grab use the pause button to read the screenshots. Anyway, so what are we getting at here? What are we getting at? Well, isn't it odd that Tina's communications place this whole timeline, what is it? 12 hours earlier? Anybody find that odd? Tina's whole timeline places it 12 hours earlier. So does Julie's, rendition of it. Now, there's a lot there. So let's get into the presentation. Let's get into the. Let's see. We'll do this. I'm gonna say. Okay, part 31. Let's make sure we're here. Okay, part 31. This says claims made by Tina. Now, these will be amalgamations of various resources, but she believed that there were drugs in the trunk of the car, a white car. She called Lesenby to tip him off about the drugs. Tina said the men with her daughter, Megan Allen, were Elijah Cook, Keegan Calley, Josh Weaver. Oh, don't we have a John Weaver in this story? Remember, the person who saw the girls or heard the girls had been found in the water. Tyler Joe French. Garrett, and she doesn't leave a last name, and Travis Janicki. Tina said her daughter called her from the bridge on the 13th. And what she actually said was from the evening of the 12th until the early wee hours of the 13th. Her daughter had called her several times. And when Megan finally came home on the 15th, she was not in good condition. Tina alleges her daughter was raped and beaten by men as an initiation, gang rape, and it was rumored it was for the Sons of Odin. She also claimed that her daughter came home with a pair of earrings in her pocket, and those are the very earrings that I showed you the images of in that video. This claims they have since been turned over to the FBI. That's not true. The FBI did not want those earrings. But I know where those earrings are. They are being held in safekeeping in case the FBI should ever want them. Tina shared that Delphi murders could have been an act of revenge against Libby's dad, Derek German. And if you have seen the crime scene photos, you will probably agree to that. Tina believed that Derek German snitched on her sister, Christy Lynn Martin, Keegan Callith, Tyler Joe French, and Jeff Reagan. Okay. Well, more coming on him later. I believe that Mr. Fourpits in the chat can inform you on Christy Lynn Martin. It's rumored that Eric Alter was associated with this crew, along with Abby's uncle, Libby's dad, and possibly Garrett Kurtz and Anthony Greeno. Tina said that Cheyenne and Cheryl were there with the group and may have witnessed the crime. Huh, I agree with this in its entirety. Tina also shared her story with content creator Harvey Carroll Jr. He spoke about it in his POI Matrix video and in other videos that are currently private because he totally sold out and decided to bury this story. Some of the details are different than what Tina has shared in the private groups. Information that Harvey claims Tina shared with him are that Josh Hewitt may have been with the group on the 13th near the bridge. Josh Hewitt told her daughter, who started the Flora fires, Tina's daughter assault initiation happened in a gray barn near the bridge. Well, that would be the Mears barn. Hello. Libby's dad ripped off Tina's sister, Christy Lynn Martin, meth making supplier. Below are parts of Harvey's POI Matrix video that discusses the Kokomo crew. Then we've got Robert Teschke, Tyler Joe French, Josh Weaver, and Josh Hewitt. These guys are part of the Kokomo crew. There were rumors and discussion that they were out at the bridge camping out the night before. Well, doesn't that line up with the fact that Megan Allen was there? There were rumors that people were making meth and stuff out there too. Yes, and Carrie Timmons repeats that rumor, by the way. We'll be playing that for you later. There was also a rumor that Robert Teschke was dating Cheyenne. This is unconfirmed. Okay. Unfortunately, this woman's home and life's involvement in this tale is not over. The day before the killings, two persons came over to visit her daughter, Megan Allen. Those persons were Keegan Callis, Tyler Joe French. The two picked up Megan Allen and took off to go to the woods by the bridge, supposedly to cook up methamphetamine. The notion that they were meth cookers in the woods that afternoon led to all sorts of what I call the meth theory. Most involved these dealers and cookers, and apparently 3 people above, killing the 2 girls for all sorts of possible reasons. Mostly that the girls had happened upon the meth cooking operation. These theories in general are no good, and I reject them all, says, I believe this is, what's his name? I can't remember. The guy since removed all this stuff. But, nevertheless, over the period of 2:12 a.m. and 2:15 p.m., these 3 were gone and were reportedly cooking meth at some point during this time frame, but it's not known exactly when or where. Robert Lindsay is what I was trying to say. This is Robert Lindsay's opinion. I disagree with Lindsay here. I think that this is exactly where the direction we should be looking. All of these people were high out of their minds on meth and heroin for 3 days, and all used benzodiazepam that is known for pretty much erasing your memory. The daughter, Megan Allen, came home late on 2:15, beaten up, and complained that she had been beaten and gang raped at some point over this period. People thought this may have happened in the woods, maybe when the girls were being killed, and I agree. But this gang rape probably occurred elsewhere, probably in someone's home. I disagree. At the same time, there's rumored to be a photo of a group of men on their knees with pants down, kneeling around the body of a naked woman. For some time, people had wondered if this was a photo of what was done to the girls. But now it appears that if this photo exists, it depicts the gang rape of Megan Allen and not any rape or murder of the girls, where who knows? And is it for sale on the dark web? When Megan Allen returned home, the woman called the police on all of them. Keegan Callis was arrested that day on February 15th on meth charges. In the aftermath of the 3-day ordeal, Megan Allen reportedly confessed in part to the murders of the girls. She stated that she wanted to know what it felt like to stab someone, and she stabbed someone. Why is she silent today? Have police questioned her? She did not know who she stabbed, when, or where. Furthermore, all of their minds were good as erased for the 3-day period due to the benzo ingestion. I'm not sure if her confession has been turned into police. We believe this is a false confession. No, we don't. We believe this is an accurate confession. The result of a beating, a gang rape, and 3 days of very heavy drug use. Anyway, she has no details about the stabbing. Further, Megan Allen does not seem capable of murdering those girls. Really? Really, Robert Lindsay? Keegan Callis and Tyler Joe French are pretty lousy men, but from what I know about them, I can't see them murdering these girls, especially for no particular reason. Really, Robert Lindsay? The woman has been interviewed by both the FBI and ISP. We do not know what has come of this, but our information is now that Ellie does not believe the meth theory of the murders is a valid hypothesis. Yeah, but do the feds? As far as Megan Allen goes, at some point she was sold to a man up in Wisconsin. Sold. Isn't that called human trafficking? She had to go up there and live with this man who bought her for a month or so. Later, she was in rehab. This woman makes a lot of dubious choices, has terrible friends, and has gotten herself into a heap of trouble. But Robert Lindsay doesn't think she's a murderer. All right. Now, let me go ahead and read the rest for you. Let's see. And you can find this all on the community page. Let's see. We're at part 31. Pardon me. Okay. As was stated in part 1, a local man named Michael Phillips is the person who originally came up with the Kokomo Crude theory. His YouTube channel, Hunting Evil True Crime, is where he spoke about the Kokomo crew and missing girl Karina McClurkin. He has a new YouTube channel called Hunting Evil True Crime, where he builds on his Kokomo crew theory to include people associated with Garrett Kurtz and Keegan and Tony Klein. Michael has met Keegan and has been able to provide more information about his associates. Michael is in our group under YouTube name Hunting Eagle True Crime. Everyone, please be respectful to Michael. He's a military vet, was an FBI informant, and has information that can possibly help solve the multiple cold cases in Indiana. He's putting in his life in danger by speaking out. Okay, now we're going to move on. Now these are screenshots. Tina Rodell says, I'll check back in a few. I need something to eat. Starters, I know of some people who were cooking meth at the Monon High Bridge on February 13th. My daughter was there, and I'm in so much shit because cops told them where they got the info from, and my whole life is being torn apart because I was looking out for the death of 2 girls. Can't believe the cops have done this to me. I'm so unsafe. She was out there with 3 guys cooking meth. Okay. She said her daughter was at the trails when the murders took place. They were the ones supposedly making meth at the trails. I'm not sure if it was Tina's son, Blake Hicks, with them or not, but Tina said they all got in this white car, went out to the trails, at least Megan and Keegan. Okay. The bloke's bruised up 3 days after the murders. His sister, Megan, is, as well as Keegan Kelly's girlfriend, or was at the time of the murders. Tina said Megan was attacked. Okay. Then Tina comes behind that and says, I never stated Blake was with them ever. Blake was not with them when they came to this house. Due to the people rumors, it has made him a suspect because his younger daughter caused his younger daughter all kinds of poo in a small town. He gave up his DNA. My other 2 sons are also a no-go. So out of respect for people who did try to help, don't slander and hurt us. 3 people came pick up my daughter. Sorry to inform you that after rethinking what Megan told me on the phone, I came to the conclusion she lied about being interviewed with Ellie, and she claims to me took pics. Okay, you understand? Took pics. She did admit to me who was all there: Elijah Cook, Josh Weaver, Keegan Callis, and Tyler French. Travis Janicki was pickup guy. Cheyenne Holigan, Ingo, and Cheryl Loeffler witnessed what might happen and might know who Bridge Guy is. I looked back at my papers. What I have is Gabe Ellis is an evil man from way back. Gabe, Tyler, Derek, German, Tina Rodell all used to do meth. They had a meth lab for a few months prior to the killings. Not all of them, but a few. Gabe liked underage girls, and on 2/15/17, he was pulled over and had a minor in the car. It was a 2001 gray Grand Am with paper expired plates, Indiana G 908510. They expired on 4/2016. The same plate number was written down from the 2012 Dodge Dart at the abandoned CPS building. The plate was registered to Tyler French. Okay. Now, we're going to skip ahead for the sake of cohesiveness to, let's go find it. All right. Here we go. Tina said her daughter called from the bridge on the 13th, and when Megan Allen came home on the 15th, she was not in good condition. She alleges that her daughter was raped and beaten by the men as an initiation. It's rumored that it was for Sons of Odin group. She also claimed that her daughter came home with a pair of earrings in her pocket and have since turned them over to FBI. Now, keep in mind, this is before the arrest of Richard Allen. This is before any mention of Odin, Odinism, or anything like that. Keep that in mind. All right. Think about this. These earrings look like standard most girls get when they first pierce their ears, and you must leave in for 6 weeks. However, many girls keep them and wear them regularly. You have to turn them after piercing to prepare the earlobe for accepting them forever. You have to alcohol them in your ears. Anna saw the photo. She was asked if they were Abby's. She said she didn't know, but they could be. I'm kind of in the mindset that they aren't, since there are 2 pairs. Why would Tyler have them except for getting his ears pierced? But he has to get them pierced twice. They give you the second earring to you if you only get one. I always wore my earrings I got pierced with. There are more hardy like these versus other earrings. You can go and read these for yourself. I'm surprised that I'm even able to read these messages. But look, so look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Okay, so I ask you, have you seen those on Abby, on photos of Abby? Have you seen those on Tyler Joe French, photos of Tyler Joe French? These came from the pockets of Megan Allen when she came home in terrible condition after being gone for a handful of days during this encounter. During the very same time that Abby and Libby end up dead in the woods. Have you seen these earrings? I mean, seems kind of important. All right. Now we're going to skip back down. Daniel J. Norfleet. Now I'm going to ask you to focus closely on the highlighted portions here. See if I can help you out here. Okay. On December 28th, 2022, I ask you to keep in mind how distant or how close this is from the arrest of Richard Allen. Okay. ISP Detective Rachel Dykistra began an investigation after receiving cyber tip 139208152 from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Yes, I believe that's the same institution and type of tip that just busted the ballistics examiner officer, forensics officer in Marion County. Microsoft reported that a user of their services utilized Microsoft Bing image to upload child pornography. Microsoft reported that the incident occurred on 11/21/2022, and that the incident type was child pornography, possession, manufacture, and distribution. Microsoft also clarified in the cyber tip that the incident time reflects when the first image video in a series was scanned. This indicates that the suspect uploaded the image into Bing Image. Microsoft Bing commonly known as Bing, is a web search engine owned and operated by Microsoft. Bing provides a variety of search services, including web, video, image, and map search products. Users of Bing can search for content and videos and other related materials by doing a reverse image search. Essentially, users of Bing can search images by going to the search bar, clicking on the camera icon, and then drag and drop multiple images to search. Browse to a location on a device, paste an image or URL, or take a photo. This is a reverse image search feature that allows users to search for files similar to what they uploaded. The only way that a Bing image search can be done is if the user possessed the content of what they are similarly searching for. You get it? Good. Okay. In order for the user to use this platform for child pornography purposes, the user would first have to possess child pornography to search for it using this means. Further, the user would have to physically turn off Safe Search, which is easily located in the menu in the upper right corner of the screen. Once that is turned off, the user can search for unfiltered content. Additionally, Microsoft utilizes PhotoDNA, pDNA, technology on their services to detect hash matches of files containing already known and previously documented images, videos, digital media, etc. of child sexual abuse material. The only information available for the suspect from this cyber tip, 139.208.152, was the Internet Protocol address the photo was uploaded from, the IP address, which was reported to be 67.219.84.52. Bing Image reported that one image was uploaded from this IP address. Detective Dijkstra viewed the image and confirmed it was CSAM. After reviewing the image, Detective Dijkstra conducted an open source records check of the associated IP address. The records check of the IP address indicated that it belongs to Sparklight, and the address geolocated in or near Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. On February 27, 2023, Detective Dijkstra submitted a subpoena to Carroll County for subscriber information for the IP address. The subpoena was served to Cable One Inc. via email on March 21, 2023. Detective Dijkstra received a return on the subpoena and was able to review the documents. She was able to locate the subscriber as Daniel Norfleet with an address of 3324 North 3rd Street in Delphi. On March 21st, 2023, Detective Dijkstra conducted brief surveillance of Mr. Norfleet's residence. While driving past his residence, she observed a white male subject who resembled and appeared to be Mr. Norfleet on a lawnmower. On April 11, 2023, a search warrant was executed at Mr. Norfleet's residence. Mr. Norfleet was read his advice of rights and stated that he understood and agreed to speak with the detective. Mr. Norfleet confirmed that his internet provider is Sparklight. He stated that whoever needs his laptop uses it, including himself, his daughter, and girlfriend. He stated that no one else but him uses his cell phone. Mr. Norfleet, now notice, denied ever seeing child pornography on the internet. Mr. Norfleet denied using Bing, stating that every time he uses Bing, it acts up and then his computer freezes. Mr. Norfleet was asked again if he had seen any child pornography. He stated they weren't child porn. It was things that just kind of pop up. He was asked to clarify. He stated, not good pictures, and I just deleted them. Mr. Norfleet did admit that any images of children under 18 years of age would be considered child pornography. When asked if he had seen anything under 18 years old, Mr. Norfleet said, I think so, but I don't know because you can't tell. Detective Dijkstra then explained to Mr. Norfleet why they were there at the home. He denied searching for child pornography. He was asked again if he'd seen child pornography, and he stated, "I know that it is there." During the search, law enforcement seized 4 items: an iPad, a Moto EXT, HP laptop, and HP desktop computer. All right. Now, it says on the desktop computer, there were over 1,200 notable image files of CSAM and child erotica. There were 2 images specifically that show of various female children approximately 7 to 9 years old, fully nude, in different sexual situations. There are 3 additional photos of female children, approximately 4 to 6 years old, fully nude, in different sexual situations. Finally, there's a photo of a female child, approximately 12 to 14 years of age, fully nude in sexual situations. The search history of this device is comparable to that of the laptop, with several searches for child pornography. Additionally, this device was used to access peer-to-peer file sharing network called Ares. There are 18 search keywords documented, which only 2 different terms were searched. Those terms were PTHC and bestiality PTHC, which means that Mr. Norfleet was searching for preteen hardcore and preteen hardcore bestiality content. There are also 10 different onion router URLs documented, which is an internet browser used to access the dark web and is known to be utilized due to its levels of anonymity. Listen, you see what I wrote here, okay? Twelve hundred. Okay. And I had a question. What are the odds? This is weird, part 38. Okay. Now, you guys see that? Norfleet. Pardon me. Okay, so let's see. Let me get back to how do I do this? Let's see. Okay. All right, now notice the names: Lots, Patty, Hartman. Okay. Frost, Patty. Okay. All right, now. Three 324 North 3rd. 3324 North 3rd. 3626 North 3rd. Okay. Are you guys seeing a little pattern here? Of course, I'm just making this up. I'm just making this all up. Okay, I'm just making this up. Let's see. Trying to get this. Sorry about that. Oh. Okay. Okay. Just pardon me for a moment. Let's see. All right, sorry guys, it's difficult to operate this screen share. I'm going to read for you now. I think what we'll do is I think we'll stop at this one, and I will just entertain the chat. But I want to read this stuff to you because I want you to keep all that stuff in mind. Okay, dark web, methamphetamine, 12-hour difference in the timeline. Okay. And relations. Now, listen to this absolutely fascinating tale, okay? I'll just relax and read it instead of doing the screen share, so you can ignore your screens for a while. Let's see. Okay. I 100% think it was maybe 4 to 5 men. Youngest being 19, young sketch guy. Maybe one more. Guy that hasn't had any life experience, but is probably always down for whatever. The other men, without a doubt, ex-military, so much so they came to party. BDU, night vision, binoculars. They set up shop and had fun doing it. Maybe something they are familiar with doing outside of a war zone on occasion. They are all related, whether it's by blood, marriage, religion, or from war. Clearly, they know the land, but let's just say they didn't for clarity on the situation. Let's say if they were from outside the community and never been there except for a few hours before it went down, hands down. They know what to do in any situation you put them in, no matter what happens. They have waited for this moment probably far longer than what they can stand. They will accomplish it and hopefully not be seen. However, if they are, they won't be identified. The fact that the woods between the bridge and 252 North was never searched, don't any of the families that lived in that community have anything to say about what they know? Were any of them questioned? Maybe him and his friends snuck on the K's property, the thick woods between 252 North and the private drive. That's who the neighbors seen sneaking around. Him trying to get him and his buddies back there so they could set up shop and get ready for the night. Young guy sketching the crew. They snatched them. brought them back to those woods between the private drive and 252 North, did what they did all night long, because nobody was over in that part of the woods that I've heard about looking for them girls. Did their ritual, or whatever you want to call it, waited till the searchers were gone, had lookouts on shore, and put their bodies across the river late in the evening and set up their runes and whatnot with nobody around, and maybe cleaned themselves up at Kay's garage on the way out, because he knew they were gone for winter, because he's from that neighborhood, and he would also know the land and the bridge better than most. And that's why it happened smoothly paired with complete incompetence. That's why it happened so smoothly, paired with complete incompetence from law enforcement all the way up. Absolutely nobody has said anything to me about being part of it, honestly. There was a name I heard on a podcast this week, and ironically, I misheard the name. I thought I heard a family member's name. However, once this comes out, you understand the connection of why I thought I heard what I did. Anyway, I thought I heard a family member's name, and I was like, holy crap. Oh my God, why have I not made this connection before? I looked into it, and sure enough, splitting image of a young guy sketch. And then there's that funny thing called hindsight's 2020. And since there's been an absolute onslaught of past information that became so clear all of a sudden. Oh, and since then, there's been an absolute onslaught of information that's become so clear all of a sudden. It just keeps going and going and going and going, and everything I look into checks out. Yes, I'm speculating a lot of stuff, but I'm speculating on stuff that has factual information behind it. Years of things I can't look back on and be like, oh my God, wow, that's crazy. It just won't stop. And here I am trying to make it not make sense, honestly, but that's proven to not be the case. And I think there have been the best detectives on earth on this case. There's no way that the public would have been trying to hear that it was a large handful of their fellow citizens that pulled this brazen, vicious, uncalled sacrifice of two young girls off. Wouldn't even be in the realm of possibility for anybody trying to hear, not even close. They would be laughed out of town. Now, I'd like to be very clear about this. As the days go on and the more I find out, the more my theory probably is going to change slightly here and there. Hopefully become closer to what potentially happened. Just to be clear, I also hope I'm wrong and none of this is true. I really do. But nothing else I've heard makes sense like this does. But I think young Bridge Guy was a sacrificial lamb to get them girls where they needed to be. I hope he didn't actually do the deed. However, there's a lot of military knowledge and military tools. I'm sure there's a better word for military tools. I just don't know what it is. And the dedication it takes to be in the military to do something like this. And I'm not lumping everybody that's in the military capable of doing something like this, but I've heard that once you've been in war and you kill people, some get that bloodlust. And apparently that's a high that you can't get nowhere else. And add Nordic religion's undertone, a Nordic religious undertone to it, plus potentially Freemason ties, because we all know about how they keep their secrets. Side note, I understand there are good Freemasons out there. However, I think we all know there are bad ones too. All right. Have any of you ever looked into the families that lived in that community during the time of the murders? Deer Creek Township. Other than the names that we all know and hear at the same all the time. I bet that's a no. You should. There's not that many of them. I can throw you a hint. In 2017, there were 5 separate families in that community that are all related that nobody has ever spoke about. And this is firsthand knowledge because I am related to them. It's an interesting rabbit hole. You should check it out. And think about it. Who else would know that bridge better than people that has grown up there playing on that bridge? I'm going to say nobody. Oh, and they would 100% definitely know that Kay Weber would not have been there that time of year. That's a pretty decent bit of information for someone who would want to kill 2 girls there. And it probably would not have been too hard to get Abby and Libby to go in that direction since Abby lived right there. Just with that information, the scenarios are endless, I think. I believe that the girls were taken to the other side of the bridge where the private drive is in the woods that Kay owns. And earlier in the day, the person that Miss Liebert seen was young Bridge Guy sneaking back in there in the woods with his boy setting up shop, getting ready for what they were about to do. I also bet that somewhere in them woods is a special tree that nobody has thought to look for, or just didn't have the balls to do it. I feel like a lot of people don't know that Abby lived right there. The same road that takes you straight to that private drive. There's lots of things a lot of people have overlooked right there in that community too. I've been trying to tell people, but no one wants to listen. And honestly, this is also exhausting. Watching all of these theories and people speculating all this shit. Nobody really knows what they're talking about. However, this is something that I experienced firsthand with these families on a couple of occasions. Firsthand myself. And looking back on it now, it's freaking crazy. Okay, so in total in 2017, there was around in between 20 and 25 members of this family that lived in that community. And they are avid campers. And every year, we would go camping at the Covered Bridge Festival. And we'd stay in this camping place that was right beside a golf course and a woods. Well, every year on Saturdays, it was a tradition to play flashlight tag at night in that golf course and in the woods. At the time, I was a teenager, but all the older men in the family would play as well, a few ex-military. And us kids just wanted to get away from the adults and go party a little bit or whatever in the golf course and be teenagers. And that's exactly what we did. However, the adult men, the ex-military specifically, would bust out the fatigues, the night vision, and they were freaking pumped about it every year. By far, the main attraction for them was to come camping. So while we're roaming around in some golf course, these men were at the tops of trees with their night vision, hunting us, watching us, stalking us. They would be up under bridges and shallow creeks, hiding places that we weren't going to be. Now, with that said, I feel like personally, and this is my personal opinion from firsthand experience, if anybody in them families had anything to do with this, I know for a fact that they've got night vision. And they have no problem hiding in trees, in the tops of trees, and in their full fatigues being lookouts or whatever that is they do up there. And also have made it known to me personally that they enjoy hunting, stalking young children, and frankly do it on the reg. So for me personally, just with them, a couple of things I mentioned, like he's Abby's neighbor, he looks just like young bridge guy, knows the land better than anybody. I mean, just them few things right there are really big warning signs for me. Feel free to comment. Let me know how you feel about that, because I've been twisted about it for a couple of months. Nobody wants to listen to what I had to say except for the defense team. They loved it. So hypothetically speaking, say someone does something horrible when they're a teenager or a young adult and has to go off to prison for an extended amount of time. And while they're there, they have to make a decision on what's more important: the perseverance of life or not being a white supremacist. And they join a white supremacy. They choose to join a white supremacy gang. And while they're there, they climb the ranks in this group. And with the caveat that obviously they can't practice white supremacy in prison, so they use Odinism as a cover for it. But they get all the way to the top, and then one day they get out of prison. And I guess my first question is, what's life after being at the top of a white supremacy gang, doubling his Odinism, and then being released? Is there any overlay with anything else? For example, maybe a motorcycle club? And if that's the case, how do you suppose that goes down? Keeping in mind that while in prison, he was at the top, or he was the top dog. And should that be the case, would there maybe not would there be maybe not as much loyalty or trust as there would be with the other brothers that have been in this gang and have been friends and have done things throughout the years for one another? Just like all of a sudden, hey, there's this new guy. He was important somewhere else, but now he's ours. And there was no requirements or anything for him to get into this club because of his status. Would you think that that would cause a rift throughout the motorcycle club? And then let's say, potentially, not only were they a leader of a white supremacy gang, but now they're also part of a prominent motorcycle club. And then you find out maybe he's even a Freemason as well. First off, is that allowed? Second off, is it allowed? Oh, if it is allowed, how does that pan out? Because like, do they have a competition amongst one another, bad guy clubs, or do they work together to get where they need to be? Because that's crazy. If that is something that could potentially happen for more reasons than one. I have a follow-up question to August too, but I'd like to see the response to just this first. But it's a good question and something to think about. Oh, and also, who would be the highest ranking among all them groups, like in society or in the underground world, of what people like them have been known to do? I'm not trolling. I would like real answers. No BS, please. All right. So let's see. I can stop the screen share. All right, guys. I know that was rather long, but I thought it was really important to read it to you. It's there. Okay. That's called Delphi Weird Part 41. Okay. Part 41. And so let me show you something. Oh, man. Here we go with finding things again. Okay, let me show you something. Just a moment, please. Okay, because she provided an attachment to this that I'd like to share with you. Again, this is all speculative, all hypothetical, all someone else's opinion, and I am sharing it with you. And it's there on the community page if you're interested. So let me find this image she shared, though. I think it's rather important to attach this to this discussion here. Let's see. Okay. All right, so that's it. That wraps that up. Let me check out the chat now and say hello to all you wonderful people that I have certainly missed. That was long. All right, so again, you can find that on the community page if you're interested in that. All right, so let's go back a bit and see who I want to put here on the wall. Oh, is it Dykstra? Yeah, sorry about that, fur baby daddy. I can't read that language. Okay, hey Bezo Jones. Yeah, this is true. I just, you guys want to hear it? I just watched this. It's very horrible. But why don't you guys listen to this, okay? In reference to Bezo Jones, you're not going to believe it. I mean, why does this have to be so?
Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock, and we begin tonight with an unthinkable situation. 4 people, a woman and 3 kids, found dead inside of their home in Indiana. Right now, state police are leading this investigation, trying to figure out what happened. Our Chase Howell has been looking into this case all evening. He joins us tonight from the newsroom. So, Chase, what do we know so far?
At this hour, state police have not released how they died, but here's what I can tell you. Investigators were first called to the home in Wolcottville, which is about an hour north of Fort Wayne, for a welfare check this morning. While Wolcottville Police Department was checking things out, they found the woman and those 3 children dead inside the home. That's when state police then took over the investigation. ISP says the Noble County coroner will identify the victims and determine how they died during an autopsy that is scheduled for tomorrow. Police also say there is no threat to the public. Now, I have touched base with a woman who says she's related to those who died, but she says she's holding off on saying anything out of respect for the family.
Statewide News Network covers Noble County, where police say they found 3 children and 1 woman dead inside a home in Wolcottville. Police went to the home for a welfare check. That's when they discovered the 4 bodies inside. Investigators say there is not a threat to the public. They have not released the names of the victims or how they died.
Another tragedy hits Indiana, Wolcottville. And rest in peace to those children and those and that mother. And let's just pray that it's not what it seems like. Thank you, Bezo. Both Mir Shed and Ron Logan Sheds were removed after the crime. Wonder if Ron Logan knew and was threatened, so lied about his location at the time of the crime. That's kind of what I feel. That's kind of what I feel. I've posted this before, but have you guys ever seen the movie Surviving the Game? You remember that we read the receipts for the screams in the woods? Okay, let me reread those for you, because I want to read 2 things for you. So let me reread that for you. Me and my friends stayed out from 8 p.m. with the search party till the girls were found the next day. Around 2 a.m., we ended up calling the sheriff's office because we heard screams coming from the other side of the bridge. They said that all of the officers are busy at the moment and to call back if we hear anything else. We did not hear anything else until around 6 a.m. when a couple more people showed up. Around 9 is when we started seeing news crews again, and then we seen law enforcement. 6 a.m. was when more people showing up hollering the girls' names. And 2 a.m. is when the horror screams happened. And we called the police to come help look again, but they were all busy at the moment. It sounded like the screams came from across the bridge and around the curve to the right of the river under the bridge. Okay. Now, let's see. Cheyenne Lawson. You guys know Cheyenne Lawson, who may be one of the witnesses. Okay. And how about this? Does anyone know KH or LW? KH or LW, who supposedly saw a bloody girl running through the woods. KH ends up dead. All right, and I got another one for you. We have It's a God Thing, who says, I seen something on the Carroll County scanner page. It was deleted immediately, and they came back and said the channels are crossed and the report was a different county. Naked woman running out of the woods, bloody. Okay, and it gets even deeper because she clarifies. She says, I witnessed this with my own eyes. It was very shocking to read, of course, at the moment. This was the night the girls were missing. It came over the Carroll County scanner page, and then they came back and said that the channels were crossed and that it was an occurrence that had taken place in a different county. I wish I would have gotten a screenshot of it, but I didn't. It happened very quickly and was not posted very long. I don't know if anyone else had seen it and commented or not yet. The police scanner transcripts might have it. I recalled Naked woman covered in blood running out of the woods. So, that's what I got on that. Is it not weird? Is it not weird? Yes, well, I was asking if any of you, I was asking if any of you are familiar with the movie Surviving the Game. Nobody Nothing says there was a naked girl running out of the woods in Lafayette. She was hit and killed on 52. I don't know. Gina says people even posted the inside of the barn right after the crime. Even though Spirit Box dudes were saying hunt gone wrong. What's up, Christine? I want to say hello to everyone coming in. Heather Brown, what's up? Shay Watson, Nobody Nothing, Gina Bodette, Captain Underpants, Adrian, Christine DC, RC99, Commentator Root. Did I say Captain Underpants? KO, what's up, KO? All right, everyone who's come in while I was reading, thank you for coming in. Okay, let's see what else we can pull up here. Oh my God, I got to go back a bit. Let's see. Okay. An LE officer was accused of robbing Ron Logan's property after the crime. Was that a veiled threat to keep quiet? Why is every single person in that town suspicious? It's mind-boggling. Gina, I think Ron knew enough that he stopped them from completely railroading him. Yeah, but they jailed him for a ridiculous amount of time. That was a threat to him, I believe. Okay. This is the story. I want to see a receipt that Baldwin and Rozzi know anything about this person. Oh, I'll ask her. I will certainly ask her, promise you. Don't know what to think or believe about this case anymore. Right. Well, you have to understand. There's been intentional disinformation and misinformation inserted by the PR team into this case for 7 years. So why do you think that you don't know what to believe or think? Frenchie says Pat Westfall is related to Kay Weber through marriage. I didn't know that. Can criminals become prison guards after release from prison? Oh, it's a striking resemblance, isn't it? Remember that Betsy Blair said 10 out of 10 on that sketch. Remember? But we'll speak with her and make sure that we get a receipt, or I'll ask more questions about submitting to the defense. Hey, thank you, Adrian. Yes, please hit like, you guys, and just please like each other. Communicate with each other in the chat. It's on an ongoing basis. I've been saying it's important that we all work together here because we care about progression, And I wanted to make a side commentary that I was thinking about today, because I don't think people really understand the things that they say at times. How would I say it? I'm trying to do something. Okay. Sorry about that. Ooh. All right. Adrian, I apologize. I hit the wrong button and I blocked you, but I tried to undo that. I hit the wrong button, so apologize. But um, here's what I have to say. These people who are okay with the railroading of Richard Allen and with the unhinged, uh, bold actions of the judge and prosecutor, these people, uh, you see, they like to put across that people are advocating for due process in Richard Allen's trial. They like to put across that it's because they don't care about justice or about catching the killer of Abby, the killers of Abby and Libby. And I think that's a really odd way to gaslight people, because you have to understand that we absolutely care about justice for Abby and Libby and the killers of Abby and Libby to be brought to justice. And as I've said a million times, if Richard Allen is a part of that, of course, that we would want him convicted of his part in the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. But they're conflating the two issues. What they don't realize is that it's not that we don't want the killer or killers of Abby and Libby to be brought to justice. It's that we are not convinced by the evidence that's been put forward whatsoever that he is the killer of Abby and Libby. We're also not very convinced that he was even involved. The further we get down this road, it's looking more and more like he's not, because the timeline is not making sense whatsoever. Okay? This all started with looking at how law enforcement was railroading him by misrepresenting in the witness statements, by lying, by Liggett lying on the PCA and the search warrant application, the suspicious activities of things of like say Ives resigning, of Diener resigning, of Doug Carter making the statement, the judge signed the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard Allen. When asked if this is the killer of Abby and Libby, the answer was the judge signed the warrant. We didn't ask you that, Doug. We didn't ask who signed the warrant. We asked, is this the killer? And the response is that the judge signed it. But it's a real form of gaslighting to say you want you want to let a kid killer off. Well, no, that's not it at all. The thing we want more than anything is the kid killers or killer to go down, and I mean go down in the worst possible way. So instead of gaslighting and pointing the finger in that way, why not argue logically and compassionately and say, look, we understand that you guys are not convinced by the evidence that has been pushed forward on Richard Allen, because it's very unconvincing, entirely circumstantial. And then furthermore, we understand that you're also suspicious of the actions of the prosecutor, the judge, law enforcement, and the family, and all the witnesses who were allegedly witnesses out there. If you put things that way, then we might accept it. And then we might be able to carry forward a discussion and a debate about where we actually are with this. Because this is about Abby and Libby, the victims. And it's just been really infuriating that instead of having a compassionate human discussion and debate about those realities, you'd rather gaslight and say, you don't care about justice for Libby and Abby. You want to let a kid killer, a baby killer free. Heather, I'm seeing all your messages, Heather. Anyway, I thought about that earlier this morning, and I wanted to say it, and so I guess I have. Because look, with the hateful rhetoric, there's no discussion to be had, and it's not good for the case. I mean, think about it, people. The hateful rhetoric, all it's good for are more victims, more people to be hurt. The best way forward, if you cared about Abby and Libby and justice, would be to engage in civil, compassionate, human-based debate. Okay, that can actually carry the case forward and cause more people to be attracted and get more eyes on the case, which is what you would want, is it not? Because what you're doing, it's pushing people away from it, because when they come and they see nothing but chaos and drama in the community, they don't want to participate in this shit show. It's a toxic stew. No one wants to enter that in dynamic. So here in this community here, this is what we're pushing on. This is what we're pushing on now. We're saying, look, we might believe in conspiracy theories, if you want to call it that. We might be more open-minded than the other half, if you want to call it that. We might be looking at weird stuff. We might be looking at all the information over the past 7 years, if you want to call it that way. We might actually be listening to locals who know what they're talking about, if you want to put it that way. There's lots of ways you can put it, but we're not trying to get a kid killer off. Don't put it that way, because that's not in reality what's going on. If there was convincing evidence that had been presented that Richard Allen killed those girls, we would all be on board. If law enforcement, the judge, and the family were not acting highly suspicious and inconsistent and conflicting and all of these things for all of these years, we would not be questioning anything. So, like many have said before, you don't want criticism of the family? Well, Doug Carter sure didn't do them a service by not clearing them in a blanket fashion. You don't want criticism of law enforcement? Well, don't lie on the affidavits. You don't want criticism of the judge? Well, don't do these unhinged actions like trying to remove the counsel from the defendant and denying every single motion. Allowing the limiting of the geofencing, which is law enforcement product, and the click report, which is law enforcement product. These things cause people to be more suspicious, not less. You could have cleared the family in the first month or week after the crimes in a blanket fashion. You could have cleared Shane Evans. I mean, I don't believe that Robert Ives stepped down just on a whim. Oh, I'll just step down and retire at this moment. I don't believe Diener just stepped down on a whim. Oh, I'll just step down at this moment. I don't believe McClelland and Evans were placed in the prosecutor's office just by coincidence. We actually know it was at great expense to the county. In what community have you had this number of death threats thrown around at everyone? This amount of gang stalking and brigading. It doesn't happen in other communities. If you wonder why no one's on the same page, I should put it differently. If you wonder why everyone's not on the same page, well, it should be clear to you after what I've just said. So, yeah, so that's my little monologue. That's what I wanted to say. I hope it's understood by the sympathetic folks, but also the haters. I hope you understand what's being said here. We're not going to keep banging our heads against the wall trying to convince you. But hey, I'm more so saying it for everyone who already understands this, just so that we all have a little therapy moment, you know. Anyway, I always thought Garrett Kurtz looked more like young bridge guy. Yeah, well, more so than Richard Allen, right? Pardon me. Hello, Christine. Welcome in. Nobody Nothing says the movie The Hunt is a crazy one too. Right, let's see. Here's the link to Jesse Sesbatar's link or opinion on the case. Odin's lack of charm is the title. Okay. Bezos says first Hope calls off the search at 12, then no one investigates screams heard at 2 in the area the girls were found. Now Liberty German's phone is turned back on at 4:30. Not only that, there's no Abby on the bridge photo on her phone, and you have searchers who searched where those bodies were found and did not find those bodies. That's the only place you'd ever go. If you didn't go across that high bridge, you'd go down that other trail, right down around Logan's. You'd step right over the bodies. We have Kay Weber saying the place was lit up like a football field. So many flashlights and all of this. All right. I don't believe a girl was seen in the creek. I don't believe that, but I do believe the John Weaver saying that girls were found in the water, and I believe who was it? Maybe Riley saying that the girls were found on the banks of Deer Creek. I do believe a lot about the girls being found one in, one half out of the water. Okay, on the banks. I do believe that. So I believe they were found earlier the morning on the banks, and then they were then pulled up and staged. That's my conspiracy theory. That's huge, mentioning Odinism, the sons of Odin, before any of that was out. Yeah, no one seems to think about that. Absolute insanity, what is happening before us. Yeah, like the world's not seeing it. It's crazy. It's odd, but it's also working to distract, but also shift blame and attention. They're doing it well. Yeah, it's a troll farm. That's why I call it that. Emily says, I think they arrested Richard Allen. because the election was coming up and Keegan Klein embarrassed them, making them search for weeks in a river, wasting all that city money to find absolute nada. Well, you don't know that they found nada. If they did find nada, we don't even know if they were searching in the right place. I have an amazing video on the members only. Look, guys, I'm not trying to get you to go to members only. Anyone's welcome to go who's a member and screen record and send it to your besties. I don't care. But in the members only, I have a video about the river search. And I suggest, I would love for everyone to go and view it. Hey, thank you, Kayla. Hey, James, what's up? Welcome, James. Just James. There's so many people that know so much. How did Gull get this case? It's not a pile. How is it not a policy violation for Nicholas McClellan to prosecute? Yeah, is he related to the family? Didn't I hear that? The desperate actions of the state don't instill confidence. They are sitting on a mountain of great evidence. Well, if they're sitting on a mountain of great evidence, let's see it. And let it be used. Let it be sent to discovery. I mean, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? Do you guys really think it's a coincidence? I mean, come on, how stupid do you have to be? Do you really think it's a coincidence that you have all the interviews that are disappeared, that you have the Dan Doolin tip on Richard Allen or the statement by Richard Allen disappeared, the recording? Do you think it's a coincidence that all of the family's phones, there's no cell dumps to establish a proper timeline? Do you think it's a coincidence that that there's geofencing and fog reveal which show multiple phones all around before, during, and after the murders, and that it's not allowed to be used in court? Do you think it's a coincidence that the judge, who may or may not have signed the probable cause affidavit, just immediately stepped down? Do you think it's a coincidence that Shane Evans was brought into the prosecutor's office? How many coincidences in this case are you willing to accept? Oh, you know what, Heather? I'll give you a hint, Heather. If you're trying to post links, you don't have a wrench. It's not going to let you post a link. Or if you're trying to, Heather, if you're trying to use certain words which are more adult oriented, I have a strict filter on. So yeah, if you're trying to post links, that's not going to work. It might block. Or if you're trying to use some more colorful language, it may block you. So that's maybe what's going on with you, Heather. Sorry about that. Yeah, it must be YouTube. Yeah, I have a strict filter set. I had to do it because of the troll farm coming in and always gaslighting. Had to turn on the adult filter or whatever. Fur baby daddy, yeah, nail on the head right there. Us, just not convinced. Them, overly convinced. But yeah, I agree with this too, Sandy. It's absolutely all by design. I think when it's all done, the community will be surprised who the chaos agents are in this case. Some of your favorite people on YouTube and in the family. Okay. Trust no one, question everything. Hey, what's up? What's up, Frenchie6290? That's what I'm trying to say hello to French. Penny Pona says, Prof, everything you say makes so much more sense than what the court is presenting. Oh, I'm not making the sense. I'm looking at receipts that speak for themselves. That's what I find interest in. Like what makes sense as you look at it at face value. I don't have to establish a narrative here. I can just look at what exists and just see what is laid out in front of me. Welcome in, Kat. Gull is robbing everyone, including the families, of the true story of what really happened to Liberty and Abigail. Yeah. And why would she do that? Why would a community do that? It's almost like they need to bring all new people in that don't practice law in this area. It's bigger than, well, that's why the FBI is going to take it over, and it's going to be great. Remember, the FBI was looking at, what's the thing in Boston? The Karen, is it Karen? Oh man, I'm in a brain fog right now, but the FBI watches more than you think. They are involved in more than you think. You don't have that many felonies in a family. Oh yeah, Karen Reed, thank you. Thank you. I'm a little goofy. All right. In a family for being pillars of community. That's not family bashing, that's facts. Stop the secrecy. Yeah, they're fighting more to declare Westfall and Holder as cleared rather than the family. Come on, man. I'd like to know what he has to say today too. I wish he would come on and talk. Ives, I'd love to give you a call and pick your brain. What's up, Ding Dong? Why did Nick fight for Pat and Nick Westfall not to be deposed, but didn't stop anyone else? Well, let me comment on that because I'm fucking furious. You know who he stopped for being deposed from being deposed? Because I did want to mention this because I don't think people are up in arms enough about it. Jessica Fiddler. Dr. Jessica Fiddler. Ask yourself, why would he block Dr. Jessica Fiddler from being deposed if the defense felt it was extremely important? What proof of life do they have of Abby on February 13th? A pic in a phone and a video where she wasn't even wearing what she was found in? That multiple experts have said is a photoshopped image and it's not on the phone of the victim that we have at the crime scene. You know, it's another oddity. If those girls were not sexually assaulted, why on earth were they both nude at some point? Who takes girls that age and causes them to be nude, and then they're found dead, but you didn't sexually assault them? How are they going to explain Richard Allen doing that? I mean, has no one questioned this yet? How does Richard Allen run them across Deer Creek, cause them both to become nude, doesn't sexually assault them, then redresses one of them, and then leaves one nude and one redressed, and then places sticks in odd formations above them before fleeing? How do they get nude in this Richard Allen lone wolf killer scenario? How do they get nude? And why is one redressed? I mean, do the brain cells not operate on the other side? good point. Who was the last person to actually see the girls? Right. I mean, didn't Burston indicate that it was one of the parents of the girls that dropped them off, which would kind of indicate Mike Patty? But now the story is that Kelsey dropped them off, which she's told 20 different versions of. What if the pic of Abby, she wasn't alive, and you can't make a dead person stand up, so you have to Photoshop their feet in to be in a more normal standing position? That's some good speculation or brainstorming. Brainstorming. Bezos says they're sitting on a mountain of evidence that doesn't point to Richard Allen. Well, that's what I'm getting at with what we're doing. Okay. That's what I'm getting at. We're not making up scenarios or narratives. We're looking at what is the entire field of information out there and which pieces make sense. Like, how can you discount Tina Rodell's whole deal that happened 12 hours earlier? And you have Megan Allen saying she stabbed one of the girls. Where is Megan Allen now? Why won't she talk? All right. RC99 says, yeah, I don't think they're sitting on anything. I do think the defense has found even more crazy stuff in discovery. Yeah, me too. That the defense is actually looking at things closer to what we're looking at, like what is actually happening here. Yes, I can find coincidences in just any and every situation in general, Prof, but equally I can find if I find more markers, evidential patterns, and synchronization of players, scenarios, and such like. Westy, you must be using speech to text because I don't understand the damn thing you just said. I mean, dude, are you? Is it that late at night and you're drunk, or are you just doing speech to text? It's hilarious. Thanks for the comic relief. All right. The actual biological mothers have been silent for years. I wonder what they believe. Well, speaking of that, let's hear a little old Profi Poo. Hold on, let me pull this together for you. Let's see if I can find this. So you guys, if you guys haven't been around in my first days, you missed a lot. What's up, Rick? What's up, Rick? Thanks for coming in. Let's see. In my early days, boy, did I have some hitters here. Let's see. All right, so I got this one. Okay, let's see if I can. I'll do it on here to be easier. Let's see. So you won't see it, you'll just hear it, okay? So let's see. See if I can do this and not play the commercials.
I don't.
Oh, that's a commercial. Sorry. All right. We'll play this one for you. All right. Let's see if I can do this one.
Really out.
Okay. Let me do it like this.
If there were people really out there cooking meth that day, or really out there messed up and saw two kids, if there were people really out there cooking meth that day, or really out there messed up and saw two kids, and maybe that had anything to do with him.
Okay. Why did I play that? Because she's saying if there were really people, she's telling Hannah, if there's really people out there cooking meth that day and really messed up, I don't think it had anything to do with Derek. Okay, that's Carrie telling Hannah. And then I have another one. The other one is a different clip. Let's see if I can pull it up. Okay. This is a different one. Here we go.
I worry that maybe they saw something they weren't supposed to. I've heard a lot of stories about people making drugs out there, and even that very day we're out there. So I feel it is possible that maybe they saw something, or somebody thought that they saw something that they shouldn't have and dealt with it.
Okay, did you guys hear that? Let's hear it again. Focus on what she's saying and not what it looks like.
I worry that maybe they saw something they weren't supposed to. I've heard a lot of stories about people making drugs out there, and even that very day we're out there. So I feel it is possible that maybe they saw something, or somebody thought that they saw something that they shouldn't have and dealt with it.
All right, you caught it? Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I thought that, you know, maybe some people were out there cooking drugs in the woods. The girl saw something they shouldn't have, or somebody thought they saw something they shouldn't have, and they dealt with it. That's the quote. So if they were really cooking drugs out there that day, then okay, but I don't think Derek had anything to do with it. And if they really were cooking drugs out there that day, blah, 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 I think the girls saw something they shouldn't have, or someone thought they saw something they shouldn't have, and dealt with it. So is it sounding like Carrie at some point, or at least two different points over the years, thought that they were cooking drugs out there, or there was some activity out there, and the girls were victimized as a result? Doesn't that match up to what Tina Rodell said? Would not that include third-party suspects? But that's where the mothers are. Okay, you're asking about the mothers. I wonder what the families really think about the case against Richard Allen. One of the girls' mother recently chastised a poster who was insisting Ari was a perp. I don't want to read too much into that. Ooh, interesting. Oh, you mean, well, I'll say it. Okay, I'll say it. Yeah, Anna Williams said he's innocent until proven guilty, something like that, which is factual. How many coincidences does it take before it becomes mathematically impossible? Okay, here's Westy again. Let's see if I can read it this time. A whole group of people from all wraps and social standings of representatives of public of life, literally lying, covering, hiding, delaying, denying the truth and justice Libby and Abby deserve. Yeah, the feds need to move on over a couple states. I'm sure they'll detour in Ohio. There's a lot to take care of there too. Who takes underwear and sock as a trophy if it's not sexual? Humiliation or ritual? Yeah, I know, but what doesn't make sense is how they redressed one of the girls. Why would you undress just to redress? And you say double dress, yeah, with nothing makes sense. Bezos says they probably didn't even do a sex crime kit on the kids. Oh, I'll just block you. I'll just block the trolls. How about I do that? How about I just hide you forever on the channel? Thank you. We'll get rid of you. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. All right. What's up? What's up, Rick? I'm not sure why people find it hard to believe this stuff's happening everywhere. Please hit subscribe. Look, they didn't even do proper time of death. Yeah, we don't. That's another thing. Okay. What are the times of deaths? If those girls were in the water that was freezing, it would alter the times of death, would it not? All right. Wes says speech to text turned off now, point taken. Those of you who know facts yet do nothing, speak up, reach out to Prof. Come on, do the right thing. Yeah, send anonymous emails. Come on. That's all you have to do. Send anonymous emails. It's possible. People have done it. I forward things to cops and to defense. Let's do it. How did Libby's shoe and Abby's body get placed in the exact spot for the phone to remain underneath, both with zero movement, 16 minutes after the video? 18. Bridge guy stayed for an hour because he was in a rush. Yeah, you're talking about logic now. Please, AEOD, don't speak logically or think logically here, because the logic is what destroys this entire timeline and the entire crime line, as I call it. Like I said, why on earth would Rick Allen walk the girls across the creek, which ain't gonna happen, but why would he do it? To have the girls undress, not sexually assault them, force one of the girls to redress, and then leave the crime scene the way he did, or the way it was left with sticks, get out of there, magically somehow be seen by Sarah Carbo, who said she saw a 1965 Mercury comet, and him be muddy but not bloody. Well, how is he not bloody? The way those girls were cut up, how is he not bloody? How does he not leave any DNA, any fingerprints? How does he leave nothing at the crime scene? Not a single hair. I mean, you've seen the way that Bridge Guy is dressed, okay? Look at how Bridge Guy is dressed. Does he have gloves on? Does he have like a hazmat suit on? Does he have a hat? I mean, his hair's out. Like, couldn't his hair fall? Wouldn't there be some sort of a struggle where maybe some hairs would fall? If he's using a bladed weapon, you know how easy it is to cut yourself when you're yielding a blade. It's very easy to get cut. How does he get out of there completely clean, only bloody, wearing a tan jacket and not dressed? So he must have brought an extra jacket to change into, as well as a full hazmat suit. He had all the time in the world to like do all the weird stuff for zero reason at all. And then he gets out of there and walks to someone else's car that's a 1965 Mercury Comet or a purple PT Cruiser. Smart car, but not his. Where's his car? I don't know. The logic just don't logic in this stuff. I think that alone like defeats the crime line. And we already know the timeline doesn't make sense. Plus, how does the phone get put into airplane mode or turned off or whatever happens after he already leaves? Okay, and then magically at 4:30 in the morning come back on. I mean, and how do the searchers not find the girls when it's lit up like a football field allegedly, and they walk right over the spot, and then screams heard at 2 a.m. But police are too busy to investigate. But all the searchers are turned away at midnight because it's too dangerous for grown men. It's scary. 3 people just could not willingly enter frigid moving water without making noise. Your body just can't do it. It's 27 the night before. Somebody would have made noise. All right. Thanks for coming in. All eyes on Delphi, by the way, and Shay Watson, and who else has come in? Anyone else who's came in? I haven't seen you yet. I'm sorry. Haunted Parlor has come in. What's up, Miss Haunted Parlor? Always remember that the truth is stranger than fiction with this case. I've been saying this since 2017. Well, and look, thank you for saying that, because question for you guys. How many early rumors have proven to be true? For example, I heard years ago from someone who had spoken with one of the alleged people who found the bodies. Said, Prof, there were satanic symbols. This was the quotation I was given. There were satanic symbols on the girls' bodies and carved on a tree. And their throats were cut and they were stabbed in the neck. Well, geez, how would people know that before Richard Allen's arrest and be talking about it behind the scenes of the locals if it wasn't true? Well, think of all the other rumors that have been told. And ask yourself, how many of those are true? Definitely heard that, Prost. Early admissions, perhaps either that or educational guess on her behalf. They'd be the only real way to find out, and that's to ask her. Oh, I don't know which statement you're commenting on there, so I apologize. There's no reason to falsify Snapchat pics if the girls just wandered into someone's method lab. Yes, there is. Meth heads are really good at computers. Okay, if those girls were dead 12 hours or 24 hours before, there would have been plenty of hours to fabricate a whole planted scenario, including the thing that's on the victim's phone, because why would you leave the victim's phone there safely protected if you didn't want people to find that Bridge Guy video? Which makes you think, first logical thought would be it's planted and the evidence on it is planted, meaning the Bridge Guy video, meaning a whole scenario was set up, and if the family lied about the happenings of the day, then all it would take is for that planted evidence, the lying witnesses who happen to be related to the family, and the family, if the family's lying, the related family members who are witnesses are lying, the evidence is planted and staged. It'd be very easy to fabricate all of that in a number of hours, especially for meth heads good at doing so. Interesting, they are saying the sketches are the same person. That's a big negative. Yeah, it's a big negative, especially after saying for years that they were not the same and issuing that statement. And you know what I saw today? I want you guys to see this, because I tell you, the shit you see, man. I mean, for real. Okay, look at this. And I know you guys, okay. I mean, doesn't that speak louder than words? Like, there's nothing about those that are the same. The nose is not the same. The facial hair is not the same. The eyes are not the same. The attire is not the same. The age is not the same. The ears are not the same. Come on, what's the same about these? Shout out to True Crime Garage for having the foresight to or insight to put these together in this manner. I mean, come on. Yeah, I don't think they took it either. I think it washed down the creek. If there were clothes in the creek, the clothes could easily just keep on going. Yeah, I said there. Yeah, you said it for me. Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. All right. What are we looking at? Oh yeah, Stephanie Thompson. That's right. That's right. I always forget to mention her. Just happened to be the polygraph examiner. Ends up dead. It's kind of a common theme with these people is to murk and burn alive or burn. You know, when you burn, the forensics are gone. There's no DNA. There's no hair. So they murk and they burn. That's their MO. But yeah, there you're right. I think the only reason is to create a narrative. It's proof of life. I mean, my opinion, if they faked the Abby Snapchat, then it would the motive behind faking the Abby Snapchat is to provide proof of life. Abby didn't dress herself. She couldn't have. There was no blood on the clothing she was wearing. She was dead when the clothes were put on her. Well, I think what you're meaning there, see, I've read it. There was no smear blood. In other words, what it appears to me is that she was dead, but throat not cut. Okay, understand what I'm getting at. There's no smeared blood as if she was bleed. Okay, so she's not, her throat's not cut and she's not full of blood and the clothes being pulled up. So it leads me to believe she's dead by some other manner. Okay, but she's not profusely bleeding. So she's dead by some other manner. They pull up the clothes, they dress her, then they cut the throat as a part of the staging. You know, once she's dressed and she's all dressed and laid there, then they cut the throat and stab. I mean, that's my opinion. K West says, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, Jamie. That's 232. Okay, you do the math from 213 to 232. Okay, let me see. I've lost my place. Sorry. Whoops. Oh, here we go. Okay. All the kids that are born in that messed up system are victims. Yeah, there's kids tend to be the victims of this cartel. I mean, look. I mean, you guys know I basically call it a cartel. That's what we're dealing with. I mean, look at the crime scene. Okay, the crime scene. If you would look at that crime scene, first thing you're going to think is MS-13. Go look at MS-13 hits, and then look at Abby and Libby. Okay, people at the trail said the male walking on 300 at 4 was the Maxwell kid. Law enforcement then searched the Maxwell home, but 5 years later, the male walking on 300 was Richard Allen, even though Diener signed both warrants. Hey, Heather, I don't know what this means, but thank you. It's gold? You mean it's gold? I always say my chat is gold. It's awesome people here. Richard stated he parked at the old Farm Bureau building, which is a parking lot now due to the fact that Nicholas McLean's father, a convicted arsonist, burned it down. Maybe that's why they said CPS instead. Okay. Sketches don't match, and the redress shows they had lots of time. That's what I'm getting at. Also, you know what else shows they had lots of time? The placing the sticks strategically on the bodies, the way they're placed in satanic or runic symbols. That screams you got a lot of time to fuck around, because I don't know about you, but if it was me and I got a dead body laying there, I'm out of there in 2 seconds. Like I don't have time to mess around, play with sticks, and to redress. No, yeah, you're out of there. Okay, just a moment, please. All right, I'm sorry about the delay, guys. I had a little take care of a little issue. All right, Sandy. Shane says white male. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I agree. Welcome in, Shane. You'll have to ask Doug Carter what he thinks is the same. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, because it was always different until Richard Allen's arrested. Now all of a sudden it's the same. Welcome in, Sunflower Soul. All right. Why would the family help cover this up or aid in the misinformation, at least? Allegedly, of course. I don't know. I have a theory, but I don't know. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Cat Cole. Shay says, I had seen Richard Allen at work a few times. Did not know him, but had prescriptions filled there. He was notable because he was so short. Those witnesses would have thought of R.A. if they saw him. That's what I'm saying. That's another thing. I don't know how many of you have ever lived in a small town. In a town of that size, I mean, shit. In a town 5 times that size. Okay, how many of you have lived in a town of 15,000? You still know everybody. I mean, come on, when you go to Walgreens, you know the people who work there, and you so think of all of that. So in a town of that size, no one recognized that guy in the pharmacy, that little short guy. Snapchat. Proof of life, yes. And location, yeah. That's what I said before in my, sorry about that. I got water on here. What I've said before on my earlier shows, you've got to go back a year ago, is that there's 2 points to the Abby Snapchat. Time and place. Proof of life. It puts the proof of life at that time, at that place. It puts Abby at that time, at that place. So, good point, Adrian. It didn't check the family's phones or search the houses. Cartel. McCurdy, yes, that's right. And Anna Downham. Yes. Commentator Root. Mike Patty gives me the creeps. I think he's involved somehow, some way. My gut feeling. Speaking of that, this one should ruffle a few feathers. Sorry, not trying to do it. Let's see. I made a little community post. I said, what kind of freaks post up outside a courthouse to bait over the wife of the accused, who herself is a witness, in a double murder trial and secretly record her to use as a weapon to get inside the head of the defendant in order to coerce a guilty plea out of him? Okay. Because Mark Cohen could not stop running his mouth saying that this recording of Kathy Allen, that Sarah Elrod Osbrook and Roseanne Mullen have scandalously, in bad faith, secretly recorded, claiming that her monster's confessions are believed, and she doesn't feel married, and all the slander, the attempt to be controversial and drive a wedge between her and her husband, and get in his head. Let me ask you, how would you feel? How would Becky Patty feel if someone had recorded her uh, opening up about her marital problems with Mike? Because, could have happened. So I'd be careful. I'd be careful about this sort of thing with these sorts of things being said here. And you're going to use that to try to coerce Richard Allen into changing his plea to guilty in some sort of plea deal. That's really rich. It's really rich. All right. Sorry, it just got me thinking about that. Westy says, also leads me to believe the person who dressed her might have had a personal connection to her with the redressing efforts. And it's someone, yeah, it's called the undoing, right? It almost seems like Abby is an undoing with the dressing her, posing her somewhat respectfully, while as you look at Libby, and Libby's left extremely disrespectfully. Okay. Liberty's phone geolocated to the high school and back at the trail within seconds at 2:13. But when it was geolocated at Wells Street at 5:44, it didn't geolocate back to the trail. Reasons, I guess. I don't know. Well, that's what Perlmutter said, that the clearance, ceremonial circle, whatever you want to call it, so easy to exploit men in powerful positions. They think they're untouchable and can do whatever they want. I'm sure it happens to women as well, but it's probably easier with dudes. Phone ceases moving at 2:32. Yeah, which means if 2:13, that's what I'm getting at. We did the math. Let's do it again because I did it the other night. Let me make sure I wasn't tripping or something. Let's see. So we'll go back to the calculator and we'll say 2:32 minus 2:13. As easy as that. 19 minutes. Okay, then you got to subtract the 43 seconds, right? So let's just call that a minute. 18 minutes. So 18 minutes, you have time to get the girls under control, march them off of the bridge, down a couple inclines, across the creek, back up the creek, Ron Logan's to a clearing, have them undress, for some odd reason, redress one of them, kill them both, go and find sticks of various sorts all around, one of them extremely large, pose the bodies, place them on the bodies, get the phone, stick under a shoe, under a body, throw some clothes in the creek, and then bail out of there. You're doing all of that in 18 minutes. Why? Why have the girls undressed if you're not going to have some motivation for that? Rick's coming with some novel thought here. I'd say they left the phone there when they got in the car and left. Speaking of a phone, is there another phone? Did Abby have a phone? Everyone was at the trails, having all kinds of different adventures until the girls went missing, and then suddenly everyone vanishes. Get the fuck. Yeah. Yeah, they scatter like roaches, like cockroaches, like the cockroaches they are. Everyone's partying at the creek. Everyone for days till those girls end up dead. It's got cockroaches. Lights come on, all the cockroaches leave. All right. Apple Health has the phone to stop moving at 2:32. Since it's under a fully dressed Abby, all of the unaliving had to be done by then, according to LE, and all so crazy stuff. 18 minutes. 18 minutes. This is what I'm saying. The timeline falls apart in so many ways when you look at the whole context. Okay. Now, if you believe only what the lying uh, law enforcement says in the PCA, in the charging information, yes, it's you might be prone to believe, or you might tend to believe that, okay, well, Richard Allen must have done this, right? Because they're saying that all the witnesses saw him and he put himself there, and it's his vehicle, and it's all him, and he's on the video, and so yes, it must be him. But when you start to break every piece down and look at it and say, well, hold on, did he put himself there? Uh, did the witnesses witness him dressed in his clothes? Did the witnesses witness that guy? That guy? How old were the guys? What vehicles did the witnesses witness? And it all falls apart very quickly. It's not even an effort. It crumbles. Kayla says, I think the part by the high school was a little boo-boo they made while setting up the Snapchat and video upload. Yeah, maybe with the video upload, I mean, if they had pre-made this video and the Snapchat in the hours before, uh, I don't know, maybe something like that with the Bridge Guy video where it showed the origin point, but then suddenly it located to the actual GPS. Say if that video was created at the high school, which would make sense. It would make sense for both to be created at the high school, the fake Snapchat of Abby and the Bridge Guy. If both of those were faked, it would make sense that they were both created at the high school on those computers, maybe, and then or by someone there. So at the high school, they're created, and then if it's transported to that spot and turned on, maybe that's why it shows, because it initiated over at that high school, but then it suddenly, the phone recognized where it was. So it makes you think, when they do the forensics on whatever device produced that Abby Snapchat, whether it be another phone or a computer or wherever it came from, are they going to find that Snapchat was created on the phone that belonged to Libby that it's not on now? Or are they going to find that it was produced on another device? Or are they going to find that it was produced on a computer and uploaded Snapchat? That's what I said. Where's that? Where is that image going to show as originating from? And let me say this. What would it take for people to start questioning the truthfulness of what all of these witnesses and family members have been saying these years? What if it turns out that there is a second phone, and that Snapchat came from a second phone, from a second person somewhere else? Are you then going to believe that maybe the family's been lying to you, or maybe the witnesses have been lying to you? All right. Sorry, I got to catch up with the chat. I don't know what's happening now. It's so let's see. I'll try to run through a bunch here. Let's see. Carrie, welcome in, Carrie. Retaliation against Derek German. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Maybe someone getting him back for getting a loved one hooked or on or killed by some stuff he sold, or snitching, or money owed, or who kind of knows why Liberty was left without clothes and Abby had clothes. I know, that's what I'm saying. It's either an undoing on Abby, or it's a cartel hit, and they want you to know that it's the message is Libby is the target. Welcome in, Kevin. To believe of Richard Allen guilty, an unbelievable amount of random events and coincidences have to occur to bring the parties together. If Abby had a phone, much of that goes away. Yeah, I think Abby had a phone. I mean, let's be real. I'll tell you what I think. I think there's a second phone. I think it belonged to Abby. But I don't think Abby always had it. Maybe Libby held it for her until they got together, and then it was Abby's while Abby was visiting. And then Libby kept it while Abby had to go back home and not have a phone. Get what I'm saying? All right, let's see. Deposed Kyle, Erica, Michaela, and Kelsey. Yeah, and I would say Cody and I don't know. Was Shelby deposed? And was the other Cheyenne deposed? All right. DB says, I truly don't understand video having multiple GPS coordinates stored in the longitude latitude as there are single value fields in the phone's metadata. It's not an array or list. Is it really? I've lived in a small town. Everyone would be able to recognize Richard Allen. I know, it's just such a tiny guy. That's another thing about the descriptions. Why was it always someone 5'9" or taller? 5'9" to 6'1", whatever it is. But suddenly, you have a Smurf. You have a guy this tall. Suddenly, he's 20 years older and I don't know, a foot shorter. What? Why not do a lineup? Why not do a lineup? Let's do a lineup. I lived in a town that size, and you totally recognize people by how they walk. As a tall girl myself, says Sunflower. Taller than Witness BW. Guys that much shorter stand out to me. I don't forget and suddenly mistake them for being taller than me. I tell you what, this case falls apart with the witnesses, with the timeline, with the family's conflicting statements. Sorry. And now you're saying possible second phone, possible deception, like people have said for years with the digital media. Last known proof of life. What was it? Because a Snapchat photo ain't it. Okay. So outside of immediate family, who was the last person to see either of those girls alive? Defense, do you hear what I'm saying? Defense team, can you get on that now? No one verified they saw Abby and Libby. The one witness claims she saw who could have been or who she believes may have been Abby and Libby. Could have easily been any other two girls, especially relatives. If no one saw the girls, Why wouldn't they investigate the family? Christopher Mathis did say you could do all kind of crazy shit using a cell phone when he was methed out. Yeah, he said he could turn that into a spy device within seconds. Okay. No one stated they were for sure Abby and Libby. Kelsey and Bree look very similar. Yes, they do. That's what I'm saying. It could be relatives. Doesn't have to be Abby and Libby. She doesn't know that she saw Abby and Libby. All right. Shudder to think those girls were never on that bridge. I don't know. Were they? Was it the day before? The week before? Now, Heather's opinion is that she's never seen anyone on trial she was so certain was innocent. Truly at a loss on this, like the wind knocked out of you daily with this. Yeah, but I mean, I would say buck up, soldier, because I just don't see how in a jury will convict when all of these things are brought out. Like, you don't think that these points are going to be brought out in trial by the defense? Look, if it's that easy for us to pick apart out here, you know the defense is going to be able to pick apart every piece of this, just like we can do. They'll be able to pick it out, pick it apart in detail in the trial very effectively. So I just don't see. I mean, I'm not going to get overconfident here in what's going to happen, but I just cannot imagine unless there's some bombshell. I've been saying this for a year. The only way I can see it is if there's some bombshell evidence, bombshell that no one knows of, that and I just think there can't be, because if there was bombshell evidence, don't you think that the little troll farm would be running around like yapping about it? Because you know McClellan would have leaked it, or one of these the employee of Gull who leaked to these guys, like someone from the prosecution would have already leaked this fucking bombshell info so that the YouTubers can run and get in everyone's heads with the bombshell evidence to influence the jury pool. They would have already done it. So it leads me to believe there's no bombshell evidence. Because if they had anything, they'd be blowing it out of proportion, just like they already do with the bullet, or he placed himself there. Like any little tidbit they have, they've already blown completely out of proportion to the level of insanity, and ran as a troll farm to, and creators, blah, 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 implicate his guilt. So think about it. They can't have nothing more. I mean, it doesn't add up that they would. Like, unless the strategy is to hold it till the last possible minute, don't tell a soul about it, and then just drop it like a nuclear bomb on the case. So yeah, there's that 1% that's what's going to happen. That's what it is, but I don't think so. Yeah, but you haven't read the Shane. Okay, let me find Shane's statement. Let me see. Where is it? Jeez. Sorry, hold on. Let me find that. Well, okay, I can't find it, but I'll read it. Shane says confessions are very powerful to juries, whether they are legit or not. Unfortunately, I understand that, but listen here. You may not have read the testimony regarding the confessions from the it's like the end of August, or no, it's the end of July, early August, late July, early August, 3 days of hearings. The testimony, or the statements that have been made so far that we have in the transcripts about the confessions are completely unconvincing. And this is from Harshman for the most part, I believe. it basically comes across as it's all his imagination, and we could read through that if you want right now. If you guys want to chime in the chat, and I'll see if you want to hear from some of the Harshman documents, but our transcript. But basically, when Harshman is describing this whole alleged, all these confession scenarios, it's real sus, because Harshman starts to go into stuff like, well, no, he didn't really directly confess. Like he said things that if you put in the context and you knew his way of speaking, you could tell what he was talking about, and you know, like it's kind of a real roundabout, nebulous thing, and you would think if it was that devastating, direct, clear, sober-minded confessions, Harshman would have said that. He would have had them in his notes and ready to go, and he would have said that. But the way they came across, no, it came across as like really weak. He may have made some statements to the effect of like, "Well, I'll just tell them what they want to hear," you know, and that'll bring it into it. Okay, that's not a confession. Or saying that he was talking to himself and said, "I killed Abby Libby." Well, that's not a confession. Um, saying, "If you say I killed him, then I killed him." That's not a confession. So as I read through those transcripts, the 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 only one statement that seemed like it could be something was that he seemed to possibly relay things that could be known only to the killer. Well, what would that be? Because this is after all of this information is leaked out, after the crime scene photos have leaked out, all of this shit. So what did he say? So, where the girls were, their throats were cut. Well, that's known. Oh, there were sticks on the bodies. Well, that's known. So what in the hell would be only known to the killer that's not already known out there, and that some of the inmates screaming at him constantly 24/7 or babysitting him wouldn't tell him? Why'd you place sticks on the girl? Oh, well, now he knows there's sticks on the girl. Why'd you cut their throats? Well, now he knows their throats are cut. So that ain't gonna fly. I mean, the defense could tear that apart. Anyway, I don't see you guys commenting that you want me to read those, so I'll just leave it alone. But yeah, I don't believe those confessions are like rock solid. I really do believe if any of them were absolutely kicking the nuts, Harshman would have clearly relayed that, and he did. Everything was kind of contextual. He was like, "Well, if you know the way he speaks and his speech patterns and blah blah blah." I got a lot of catching up to do. I see I'm way behind. Is that the break I took? Sorry about that. Wow, got way behind. Okay. I think the redressing, the stakes, the fake photo are all meant to cover and confuse. Those are part of the tentacles, I think. I think the actual tentacles are the dark web. I mean, you really want to know what I think? I mean, you do realize that, like, the Anthony shots was tied and is tied to the Delphi murder, despite what people will tell you. It just is. Remember, I mean, you know how you can settle that argument? Did the Anthony Shots account have contact with one or both victims? Yes or no? End of discussion. End of discussion. SS says there are several phones. I agree with that. There are at least two, in my opinion. We'll be finding out about that, I'm sure. Every rabbit hole leads back to that family having knowledge of what happened. I agree. That's why I question. I don't blame. This is not a family blaming venture here. We question questionable things, and I'm sorry that, like I've said multiple times, Doug Carter could have done them a huge favor by clearing them 7 years ago. Fireman searched 5 times till midnight. Eric Williams said he's a country boy. He would have seen those bodies. Eh, I don't think so, Shane. Emily says, I fully believe we should put that 100% focus on the family. They know the truth to stop splitting our time between all of these other people. Well, I lean more and more and more towards it was a setup on the Odinist. That's why there's sticks on the bodies to frame the Odinist. That's why there's the runic formation on the tree. Did you notice? Okay, did you notice when I was going to my community page earlier in the show, we showed the Tina Rodell text, and she says there was a K carved in the tree. Okay, she calls it a K. Some people call it an F. Some people call it an upside down L. So the K is not carved, it's painted in blood. Or it's an F, or it's an upside down L, or it's some kind of right angle type of formation. Why were so many people, witnesses or participants, at the trails on a Monday workday that was not so unseasonably warm? Yeah, yeah. I do believe that most of the people around there that are related to the family are lying. The Patties did not seem relieved when he was arrested. They seemed distressed. That was my criticism, and I've done that in one of my early shows. I showed you like both the interview in the at the press conference and outside of their driveway. I mean, they look highly distressed, in my opinion. Hey, I can say what I think. That's what I think. They look distressed. Like, why not celebrate? Who were the three girls? Do you mean the classmates who were seen under the bridge? So there were the three classmates who were under the bridge. I believe those are the three girls, but I don't know if that's who you're talking about. Those classmates lied too, okay? They said initially they left at 3:30. Well, when they found out about the timeline, they changed the story till they left at 3. Why would they change the story? Allegedly, Kelsey said Becky let Abby have a phone because her mom wouldn't let her have one. Never been addressed. Was it on that phone? Is that the second phone? Good comments though. Thank you guys for chatting it up in here. This is the value of the channel is the chat. I said that repeatedly. Like, you guys make it. You guys make this happen. I'm so glad I went live. Let's see. I wondered if they intentionally had multiple people around different areas to throw the eyewitnesses off. Well, what I believe happened is they had multiple people stationed as lookouts. Okay, so in my conspiracy theory of the crime, I believe they had a couple people, a few people, several people stationed here and there to be lookouts for what was really going down in the woods. That's my conspiracy theory. And we have called them all these years witnesses. They're not witnesses, they were lookouts. They were panicking because they knew any arrest would eventually end up in trial, which required intense scrutiny on the actual evidence. Hi, Amy. Welcome in. Welcome in, Amy. Shay, I remember hearing that about giving her a phone. If we only knew somebody who had all of Liberty's login information, especially her Snapchat. Fiend, I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. I'm trying to interpret that. Kagan says someone was logged in on a different device. Well, that's the thing about Anthony Shots. See, people tie Anthony Shots to Kagan Klein too much. Just because Kagan Klein created the Anthony Shots account doesn't mean he was the only one that had login information for the Anthony Shots account. If he was not, then that means that Anthony Shots account could have been used by anyone. Yeah, they don't have a slam dunk case. I don't think there's a slam dunk case. Like I'm saying, it just doesn't add up that there's a slam dunk. Okay, because slam dunk would mean you don't have to lie and stack the deck against the witness. You don't have, against the defendant. You don't have to twist the witness statements. You don't have to lie on the doc. You don't have to say like this car when it's not this car, it's that car. You don't have to change the color of the clothing or the witness's description. You don't have to do any of that. Pardon me. How far behind am I here? Heather says, I'm not saying I believe in psychics, but I remember watching one years ago before he was arrested. She said there were so many people involved, it wasn't even funny. That's what I believe. Another girl went missing in Carroll County around a year, maybe two ago, and the cops asked Mike how to go about the investigation if certain equipment could be utilized. What? No lineup, no taped interviews, no time of death, no rape kit, no lack of witnesses in spite of all those peeps at the trail. Because you can't trust any of them. I don't know if Abby had a phone, but I know Holman for damn sure loves to not go pick up phones related to a high-profile murder investigation he's investigating. Boom. I know about that too. McCurdy has an open case against Hoosier Harvest Store. They're both listed as owners. Richard Allen has no reason to Photoshop a Libby picture or Abby picture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's back that up. Let me repeat that in a way I'd like to say it so that it's preserved. Richard Allen has no reason or time whatsoever, and probably not the skills, to Photoshop an Abby on the bridge picture. Zero. So if, then it means something else. Sure seems like law enforcement, FBI, was really questioning Kelsey hard early on. Yes, they were, because she claimed to be the last one to see them, and she was not happy with those questions. And by the way, where are those transcripts or videos for the defense? Why is the defense still asking for them? Do you understand that? The 6 or 7 she said she did, why is the defense still asking for them and don't have them? Why is that not in discovery? Empty bridge photo looks like it was taken in the morning dew. You know what it also looks like? It looks like exactly identical to Cheyenne's photos. Like it was taken from the same camera by the same photographer. Have you ever noticed that? I've said that several times before. Kyle and Erica allegedly or alleged screenshots of Abby on the bridge pic. Cliff was friends with Erica. Did she get the photo, the image then came from with little help from her friend? That's a little unclear what you're saying just because of the way you typed it, but I have questions about that girl, okay, and guy. As far as Erica and Kyle, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And there could be a reason, okay, there could be a reason, but I'm not buying it. I'm curious if that was ever on Snapchat, to be honest. You know, you can Photoshop Snapchat stamps onto an image. I've proved it to you before. I've posted that. Just as easy as you can Photoshop an image, you can Photoshop a Snapchat label on the thing to make it seem as if it's a Snapchat. Hey, what's up, Heather? False confessions happen all the time. Often it doesn't make sense, but it's just a fact. Well, yeah, I just posted a video on the little backup channel where the guy confessed to killing his father. He did, and then the dad's alive. The dad was at the airport or something, trying to catch a flight. But they got a confession out of him. You know, they got after 19 hours or whatever, 16 hours of pressuring him, they got him to falsely confess. Well, then turns out his dad's just at the airport, not dead. But yeah, sure, it never happens. Yeah, you can put someone in jail for a year and a half and threaten to kill them and their entire family and medicate them and fuck with their medications and shock them and beat them up and brainwash them and have both the COs and the inmates threaten to kill him constantly and his family. And sure, the confessions won't be false. But yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. The 16-hour interrogation, the guy confessed to killing his father, who was alive and well at the airport. And you know what they did? They even brought in his dog to manipulate. So they went get his dog, they manipulate him, and they said, "We're going to put your dog to sleep," as part of the technique. Like they made him think that his dog was going to die, which he loved dearly. So they tried to break his mind down, and they did, and he confessed. And then later turns out, oh, Dad's just over there at the airport. So it's on the small channel. Go watch it. Actually, let me I'll be nice and try to see if I can give it to you in the chat. It's just fascinating, the type of shit that goes down. Let's see. Come on. All right, here we go. paste. There you go. All right. Yeah, good point. If investigators or law enforcement or that whole contingent were part of handing info to the prison guards to threaten him with and blah, blah, blah. Yes, he was. That's what I'm saying. When you listen to him relay what he thinks about the confessions and all, it's just, it doesn't come across as bombshell, is what I'm getting at. It doesn't come across as like heavy, hard hitting, hard hitting. Oh yeah, remember? I wish. I mean, that was a clear lie. You know what a clear lie is? Okay. Have you ever heard of the Anthony Shots account? I wish. You guys know that's a clear lie, right? I mean, look, we're not beating up on Kelsey, but we're saying like on this one, Kelsey, we know it's a complete. That was a complete lie. Can we just be real here? That was a complete lie. I wish. Complete lie. Okay. Bottom line, we call it as we see it. Sorry, that one we have to just tag complete lie. So why would you? All right. Yeah, even the searchers were like, "What the heck?" And Mike. Okay, so from what I know, I'll tell you what I tell you from. Jeez. From what I understand, Mike put in at Wilson Bridge and canoed on down. You feel like the Odinist staging was set up on purpose to point to certain persons? Yeah, maybe like Brad Holder, who Becky Patty pointed the finger at as well, almost like it's a conspiracy. I mean, did they intentionally set up Brad Holder and that's why Becky pointed at Brad Holder? Yeah, what are you talking about? For nobody, I don't know what statement you're referencing, but thanks for being nice here. Yeah, why didn't anyone see the clothing? You wouldn't have missed any of it. Oh, Elvis did say he put horns on the girls. Like I said, there's so many points that fall apart. Like every one of these things, when you put your finger on it, it just totally crumbles. Like I wish. Can we be honest here? I put horn on the girls. If I spit on the girls, am I going to be in trouble? Oh, look. It looks like Brad Holder's Facebook page, and then Becky Patty says, "Oh, well, you should look at Brad Holder." Oh, and then yeah, you're right. Denying knowing Richard Allen, but then it coming out that they did know Richard Allen of Richard Allen. Oh, guys, I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. Talking about Liggett changing the classmates' timeline. No, I think they did. But why would they move it ahead 30 minutes? Like to be out of there by the time the murder's done? I mean, it's real fucking sus. Oh, this is interesting. If you log on into Snapchat on a new device, it automatically logs you out of other devices, at least in 2017. Really? Well, that's new to me. Thank you for the intel there. Wow. No, I think it's fear of his wife and daughter being killed. I mean, he clearly asked, "Is my wife alive? Is my wife okay? Is my family alive? Is my family okay?" What do those statements say to you? Or questions? What do those questions scream to you? Is my wife alive? Is my wife okay? Is my family alive? Is my family okay? That tells me he was told, "We'll kill your wife, we'll kill your family." That's what I think. Why else would you ask those questions? Oh yeah, speaking of the yeah, exactly. Speaking of the marathon or whatever gas station, okay, accidentally destroyed. And then the woman who did the receipts and transactions accidentally dies. Hey, Prof, I'm not sure if you can see my comment. I was blocked by one of your mods for watching Snay a couple months ago. I really appreciate your logic. No, I see it. You're here. Oh, right. Well, there you go. Well, how do you make a 10 out of 10 sketch of that young guy if you didn't see his face? How do you make a 10 out of 10 sketch for Bridge Guy? Which, by the way, is definitely was always alleged to be a composite, okay, but suddenly becomes Sarah Carbos' rendition of who she saw on 300. I mean, how is it like the mind fuckery of this case is just so unbelievable. It's like Sarah, okay, for years they said that old guy sketch was a composite based on several witnesses' account of Bridge Guy and was made to reflect Bridge Guy. And then suddenly, now that we got Richard Allen, now it's Sarah Carbo who produced that sketch of who she saw on 300. Do you see how I say it doesn't like there's a disconnect there? Like either it's a rendition of Bridge Guy that several people collaborated on to produce a composite, or it's the person seen on 300. Like you can't change that on a whim. They just have changed everything on a whim. And it is just like the sketches are different. First person, old guy, no, who's 20 years older, 2 hours later, no longer person of interest. But now Richard Allen's arrested. Oh yeah, he is a person of interest. He's actually the killer. He's Richard Allen. So that's 2 points on that old guy sketch that don't add up. No longer a person of interest. Not the same person as young guy. Composite. Oh no, produced by Sarah Carbo based on who she saw walking. No. That's too many conflicts there. I mean, the sketches are major. For me, the anomalies in the stories about the sketches are major. It's a major weak point. Hey, Heather, thank you for $1.99. Thanks, Prof. Very good info. Thank you, Heather. Heather Brown for this super chat. Well, no, you see, they had. You guys are certainly aware of the rumor that appears to be true that they lost fingerprints and other stuff from that was on top of the car when the car drove off from the crime scene. Remember? Oh, you saw something that I was referencing. Ladybug says that's what I'm saying. I don't think they were on Snapchat either, and those two had the images, so they did that together, possibly with some help from someone, right? Not uploaded. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know. Can it be proven? Can it be proven that those were ever uploaded to Snapchat? And if that's answered, then the question is, well, which device uploaded the Abby? Like, there's several points on the images. You know, which cameras took them? Were they ever uploaded to Snapchat? Which devices uploaded them? Are they Photoshopped? There's lots of points on the digital images. The girls are found, one in shack, one in creek, but crime scene pics and BG found on the dark web. We're seeing the girls not left in a staged video. That confuses me a little. Kind of like have a hard time interpreting that one. Let's see. I don't think they were found. Okay, first of all, I don't think they were found one in shack, one in creek. I think one was killed near the shack or at the shack by Wilson Bridge. And I think one was killed, Libby was killed right at the crime scene. I think Abby was already dead. I think they were brought either by vehicle or canoe down the river, down the creek to the crime scene. I think that if there's snuff film, it along with the crime scene pics were on the dark web for sale for years. Yes. Okay. And remember, none of us have okay, none of this is coming from my imagination. This is all stuff that people have said over the years. That the whole video, the snuff film comes directly from Garrett Kurtz describing what Ashley Garth claimed to have seen from Nick Edwards. We have alleged tripod markings at the crime scene. Camera goes on a tripod. All right. Or possibly whole other thing. What else is known? What else can you associate with Delphi and a tripod? Okay, think mythologically. Okay, in mythology, how does a tripod connect to the myth of the Oracle of Delphi? So you got two options for the tripod mark. Yeah, I agree, collusion. I named the video that because I liked it. I mean, I just can't get around. Why would we not have Celebrite data on the entire? Okay, you have the victims arriving at the crime scene, and you don't do Celebrite data or extractions on the alleged person who was last to see them alive. You don't have Kelsey's Celebrite. How does that even add up? Like, you interrogated her 6, 7 times and made her feel uncomfortable, but you didn't get the phone and verify that. I mean, I'm sorry, things don't add up. Yeah, we thought they ran away, but you've got what, 500 people out there? All right, so yeah, good point there. I think the clothing was placed during the canoe trip. One may have been brought up that way, or it was made to look that way to promote the creek crossing. Yeah, maybe that's why the early stories of them being found on the banks are in the water, like John Weaver. All right, pretty sure he blamed on Mike Thomas. One may have been brought in through the cemetery, or at least some. That's what I think also, because remember when I said I think Abby was killed at Wilson Bridge? Well, if you go out there, you'll find that you can drive a vehicle right into those woods at Wilson Bridge. You can basically drive a vehicle damn near to Wilson Bridge through the woods. Down, you go down from the road, you go down into the wood, into the field, you take the left, you go right up to half, you're nearly 50 feet or 100 feet from Wilson Bridge. I think if the girls were there and Abby was killed there, they could have easily driven a truck there, put her in the back of the truck, and drove her over to the cemetery. And Abby's light, she's easy to carry. And if her neck's not cut yet, she wouldn't be bleeding all over you. She could easily go dump out Abby, and then maybe Libby's still alive, because it appears that Libby was alive at the crime scene. So you don't have to transport Libby. I don't know. It's too many questions, because no one. You see what I'm getting at is there's zero evidence of what actually happened. Like that's the thing. We don't know if they came through the water or not. We don't know if there were vehicle tracks backed up to Wilson Bridge, or vehicle tracks in the cemetery, like, or some sort of evidence that they. We don't know how they ended up. We have zero evidence of how they ended up where they were found at Ron Logan's. I mean, are there if you want to convince, where are all the footprints? Where's the footprints forensically taken as evidence by the crime scene techs of two different girls and a male perpetrator coming up the creek bank onto Ron Logan's? Where's all the footprints that would obviously leave? Is that in evidence? Where are the footprints of Richard Allen leaving out? If Richard Allen alone left out, where are his footprints leaving out? Remember, it had been a rainy few days prior. You're telling me you couldn't find one footprint of Richard Allen leaving out or coming into that Ron Logan property? All right. I used to think there was a snuff film and Kagan went to Vegas to sell it. Well, it's still possible. Hiawatha. Kurtz has been one of my POIs since in the beginning, and then I saw a young guy sketch. He doesn't know where he was that day, neither does Greeno. And Chris Mathis said he wouldn't snitch on him because look what happened to Delphi. True. Look what happened to Delphi. Don't want your kids killed. That's what he was saying. I mean, Chris Mathis' context for that was he was basically saying he doesn't want his kids killed, which makes you think that it was a hit or that it was some sort of payback to Derek. You know, you would naturally assume that it's some sort of assault on Derek or the Patties, on Libby's family or Abby's. If Chris Mathis would say, look what happened to Delphi, I'm not doing that, you know. He also said, I'll tell you what I seen. Right? I tell you what I seen. Well, what did you see then? What did Chris Mathis possibly see? Why hasn't Chris Mathis been deposed? Garrett Kurtz, Chris Mathis, Ashley Garth been deposed. Nick Edwards. Okay, Nick Edwards had a snuff film. Has he been deposed? If Ashley Garth saw the snuff film, has Ashley been deposed? Has Garrett been deposed? Has Chris Mathis been deposed? I'll tell you what I know about Delphi. No, it's Garrett's. This is what he says. It's Garrett's story to tell, but I'll tell you what I've seen. Well, why have they all not been deposed? Jerome Weiss, Pat Brown. Oh, there's Christine. Thank you for answering that. The Pythian mounted a sacred tripod in the temple at Delphi and channeled Apollo, making proclamations. Okay, so you either got some sort of sacred tripod if you're doing some sort of ritual scenario, or you got a photographic camera or a video camera. You got some kind of thing on a tripod, possibly, if there's tripod marks. Why did Erskine say he observed nothing like what's being talked about now? Well, he did. He had to. I mean, the rumor is that those crime scene photos going around came from Erskine. So if he took those, he has to have seen what he photographed. I mean, you realize there are no evidence markers in those. And they're also not professional type of photos that you would expect crime scene techs to be taking. They look like someone walking up on the scene just snapping with their cell phone, which I believe, like the word on the street is that they're Erskines. I believe they're Erskines. Oh, there's a full bronze bull. Yeah, well, Jake Keener, that's another thing because Julie found a watermark on the photo of Libby. Okay, you want to know this story? So Julie Melvin noticed a watermark on Libby's body. And when she investigated it and zoomed in on it and compared it, she found that it matched J. Kyle Keener's watermark. So is it a coincidence? Is it an illusion? Is it just that J. Kyle Keener had, for some reason, posted them or watermarked them? I don't know. I got no answers for you. I'm just relaying what Julie claims. And if you look at the photo of Libby, you will also see a watermark. And it's only partial because of the poor quality, but maybe you can do your own work and compare that watermark to Jay Kalkiner's businesses. All right, so thank you, Kayla. Yes. Julian Powell surveilled the Monon Bridge area the AM of the 13th. He also made sure to post the Eagles in Peru, a biker bar, as part of his like psyop or whatever it is, in my opinion. Oh, I've caught up to the chat. All right. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, I have caught up to the chat. That was quite a jaunt to make this happen. Let's see. I agree with that, Ladybug. So yeah, so my whole thing with Ladybug, I agree with that. I would agree with that at this point. Oh, they are being passed around, Emily. You thought wrong. Let me tell you something. Those crime scene photos are in almost everyone's hands. I know. Interesting point there, Frenchie. I mean, basically, I guess what you're saying here, Bezo, is that everyone lied. I guess that's the odd thing to me. The more I learned about it, it just seems as though everyone has lied. Everyone. It seems like everyone has lied. What could be so important or so big that everyone would lie? Think about it. To have this many people lying. What clues are you looking for, Emily? I'll easily describe it to you. The bodies are very white. Okay, the bodies look like they've been in a cool. I would put it this way. I think they were either in a morgue cooler or in a butcher shop, grocery store type cooler, or they were in icy water. And the oddity about that, you can go back. I played it for you recently, and you can find Robert Ives saying the girls were found so immediately after they were killed. What the hell does that mean? Think about this. The bodies are very white. Okay? The bodies are very white. There's no marks around the wrist or ankles, no. But keep in mind, the quality is poor. It's poor quality. It's poor quality. But you can see the color, and it's very pale. But then you have Robert Ives saying the bodies were found, quote, so immediately after they were killed, close quotation. It just doesn't add up. Like I'd love Robert Ives to explain that a lot of things for us. But one of the most curious statements is that he says they were found so immediately after they were killed. I don't get that statement. I really don't. And the statement doesn't make sense. If like, how can they be found so immediately after they're killed if they are like pasty white and appear to have been refrigerated? Prof, the interview you did with the retired ISP Master Trooper was very telling. Was it Mears who had a butcher shed with all the porn over the walls? Yes. Yes, and he will be back. He will be back to talk more about that, because we all feel that he didn't talk enough about it, because I don't think people who watched that understood enough of what his impressions were as law enforcement, because he's kind of a muted communicator. He doesn't really emphasize things enough. So we will have him back to talk more about that. Praying there are some Delphi local heroes that have kept their mouths shut and who are going to tell the truth at trial. Me too. Me too. All right, guys. So there are 9 crime scene photo pics. There are 9 pics in the set. We know that much, and we're still trying to figure them all out. But it appears there's 2 sets. But it also appears that there's a cover-up, because we know for sure those leaks were not thoroughly investigated, which makes you think law enforcement had no desire to find or get to the bottom of the truth of the leaks. But we know and we hope that one day they will. No way those girls didn't go through hell. Glad people haven't given up asking questions. There are so many. I think they want people to stop asking. Yes, they do. They want this all to go away. But just imagine the horror. Imagine the horror. One had to die before the other one. Okay, so for the one who died first, no big deal. She died. For the one that had to survive, see the other one die, and then herself be victimized, absolute horror. It's unfathomable. It really is. I don't like thinking about it. Nope. Ellie did not look at the butcher shop or Benjamin. And we have constantly said Benjamin Mears is highly suspicious. Should have been looked at. Robert Eyes, we want to know what you know. Yeah, we want to know why you said the girls were found so immediately after they were killed. But when we look at them, they look like they've been under refrigeration for 12 hours or 24. Mears had a small outbuilding on the farm specifically used for butchering. Ironically, it had nude photos displayed all over the walls. Just remember how weird people acted when he pulled in their driveway. Yeah, and he said how a big concern to him was how he said that, all she talked about was her son and herself, and he thought it was so odd that this double murder of 2 little girls had just happened across the street from their house, and not one mention of it. Not one mention of it. All she talked about was her son this and her son that and her son that. And she totally ignored the fact that they're surrounded by pornography. And this is an old German Baptist lady. She didn't even say, "Oh, forgive the porn." And this is a state trooper in full uniform with the hat and all. All right. I don't know what you're at. No, I don't know, Gene. I think something did, but I don't think it's not relevant, because we believe if those girls were brought to Mears, there's 2 spots. We believe the butcher shop, if they were taken there, or the little gray shed that's still there where they sold the liquor out of on Sundays, the little party spot. So we believe that's your only two options. So nothing with a barn or some burned down building. No, we're looking at that little gray barn or the butcher shop. And you can see the trails. You don't really see the high bridge. You see the trails. Hiawatha. All right, you guys. So look, it's been really good to it's been really good to do a weird part 5 for you guys. Weird. I mean, is there anything more weird than the Delphi murders? There's not, because you have the weirdness of the pre-crime, you have the weirdness of the crime, the post-crime, and you have the weirdness of the social media phenomenon ever since then, going on to this very day. And hey, we just pray for a resolution. And like I said earlier, it's not that we don't want someone to be arrested for this crime. It's just that we're not buying the Richard Allen narrative at this point based on the evidence that's been disclosed. Now, should something further come that is more convincing, we are all open to accepting whatever truth there is, because the ultimate goal is to have each and every person associated with this crime convicted, pay the price. Truth be known, but if it is Richard Allen, yes, show the truth and show it. Make it convincing. If it's not Richard Allen, then sorry, we're not going to buy a bunch of BS. And at this point in time, it's a bunch of BS. Now, you want to convince people differently? Produce actual convincing evidence in the court of law, and people will be convinced. So thank you all for being here. I'll leave the chat open 5-10 more minutes like I always do, and I'll join you in there. But God bless you all. Pray for justice for Abby and Libby, and more than that, pray for this community, that we all learn how to get along and talk to each other and love each other, appreciate each other for who we are, because we don't all have to be the same. We can all be different, and we can all still work together as a group of people who just want, I guess, some justice for this crime, because it's been traumatizing to everyone, and especially traumatizing to the victims. So I understand that this crime here it attracted everyone's attention because of the media surrounding it. By that, I mean the Bridge Guy video. Okay. Bridge Guy video, the Abby on the Bridge photo, yes, they're enticing. They drew all the attention into this crime. And that's one thing. And it actually may be a double-edged sword. That may be the thing that actually brings justice, because so much attention has been focused on this case because of that media. And if that media is fake, then it's going to turn and point the finger right at the people who produce that content. So whatever the case may be, the gaslighting, the lies, the inconsistencies, the coincidences, the suspicions, all of the bad behavior and the trolling, gaslighting, and lying, all of that stuff has been a really traumatizing roller coaster. And as we near this trial for Richard Allen, it's like we're in the pressure cooker. Things are turned up. So understand that in these times, I really do believe we need each other more than ever. And so think about that. Think about what you do and say, so that you say and do things in the best way, that you're the best for others. And I'm trying to do that. And I know that all of you are trying as well. So God bless you. I read the weird still in the communicate page, but it's easier to understand when you show and explain it. Thanks, Prof. Well, thank you, Hiawatha. And that's why I'm doing so, because I was asked to do that, because it is kind of cryptic when I just throw up those receipts. So that's why I'm doing this walkthrough, just for this reason. So I'm glad that you get that. And God bless. Remember Cop Fact saying the photo was fake? Absolutely, I do. I think he was frustrated and knew this case was skewed. Absolutely, he was and is. But you know what they did to him? They scared him off, just like they've scared off 90% of the people who question the gaslight. So basically, they have a MO, and it's to scare people off. But there's a few who haven't been scared off, and all of you in the chat are among that group. So God bless you. Good show. Have a wonderful day. I wonder if the scream could be one girl seeing the other girl dead or murdered. Yeah, I agree. Or the moment she was attacked. I don't know. But God bless you all. And we'll see you later. God bless. Hug your kids. Hug your wife. All right.